Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Vega. This is SerpentX Tech, and this is our weekly show called Caffeine Crypto, where I welcome you to join me with your favorite beverage of choice: caffeine, energy drink, tea, or non-caffeinated water, whatever you got. And let me go over some crypto news this week. Yeah, that's the basic gist of this show. However, it tends to go astray, especially when I am taking off to go enjoy various activities, spend time with the family, whatever it might be. Because, I actually have a life, as do you. We don't have our nose in the charts 24/7. But when we do dig into the charts, I like to look at it. I am not the best TA expert, but I am getting better, or at least knowing the signs. Right now, we got Bitcoin sitting at 43.2, Ethereum sitting at 2,300, or 2,300. BNB's over that 300 mark, and Solana fell below the $100 mark. A few coins in the red, like XRP, which I don't have that news topic, but we did hear that one of the founders, or one of the top people of XRP, Ripple, was compromised, and we saw 200 million something XRP get taken as they work with authorities to try to mitigate that as best they can. A few of the lesser coins, even Caspa, down. I wouldn't call Caspa a lesser coin because the Caspians will get on me, but it is a lesser coin relative to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the top cryptocurrencies. But it is at least on page one. Starting the month of February out pretty good. Actually, we jumped from around 41,700 up to where we are now, 43,136. We are having a red day so far, but overall, we had 3 green and 3 red. So hopefully we can start off February in a good light. However, I do have some bearish sentiment to share with you a little bit later in the stream, so stay tuned for that. Right now, the Fear and Greed Index is sitting about that same point as it has been for quite some time, that 60 to 55 range. People are uncertain. They want to be greedy, but they don't know if it's a good time to be greedy. People that are short selling are also fearful of being liquidated. So it's kind of a mid spread, right? What is Bitcoin going to do? And people are bullish on it. You got Kathy Wood calling for high number Bitcoin in the future. We'll talk about that as well. Coinbase analyst sees downside pressure, some of the bearish sentiment I was talking about. What happened with Bitcoin, and as far as it claiming the 43K level, we'll watch that video later on towards the end of the stream. Ethereum self-staking key to the atomic generational wealth. Of course, Ethereum staking right now is going to cost upwards of $70,000 per person, so I don't see how the at-home individual can get involved. But remember, you don't need to be a validator in order to participate in the Ethereum ecosystem. You can set up an Ethereum node, just not be a validator. Then we talk about something that is not talked about too much in the top levels of the media, but something that caught my interest. I reposted it on Twitter. Boring Sleuth basically was able to track down and find that either the Ethereum Foundation and Vitalik knows the person that did the Gatecoin hack in 2016, or maybe interacted with the person or funded the person. I don't know. There needs to be further investigation into this. While I'm getting better at chain analysis or analytics, I would lean on the top guys to do it more than myself. But if that becomes true, does that have a negative impact on Ethereum? That is a question I am posing. You guys will just have to weigh in. Obviously, Solana doing good. The ecosystem is growing as the protocol's craziness continues, and seeing new all-time highs. Basically, Ars Technica is saying that 2% of the U.S. electricity is now going to Bitcoin mining, and how the government seems to be closing in on Bitcoin mining overall. If you don't work with your local, federal, state officials here in the U.S. and you're a mining operation, I would urge you to do so. And that means all the little guys as well, like the EPA, if you're doing immersion cooling and stuff like that. I'll drop some knowledge on you here in a minute. Celsius emerges from the Chapter 11 bankruptcy and is starting to do distributions. We got $300 million that's going over to creditors, but don't expect the little guy to get their piece. And then some article here that says he lost his marriage, his followers, and his Lamborghini. I know where that Huracan Performante went. That's the only reason why I clicked this article, is I know where this Huracan Performante went. So we might be seeing it again in the future. And then 3 people indicted for the 400 million FTX crypto hack. So when FTX claimed bankruptcy that same day, that hack where everybody was asking like, where's the money going? Why is it moving? If you're claiming bankruptcy, they found the 3 people allegedly tied to that. But yeah, Bitcoin's looking good. I do, and I have been saying for a while, as it starts to make its round through the top crypto influencers and educators and people in the space. I mentioned this in a Twitter post, the disappointment of not being able to get some of the knowledge and insight that I have out to the rest of the world because of my lack of influence or followers. And I don't want that. I just want to make sure that people are properly educated. And that is, you know, everybody previously, right? And I've been saying this for months, have been previously claiming that the Bitcoin ETF is going to change the landscape, and that the traditional trends of Bitcoin leading up to the halving, or halving, as Max Voltage keeps correcting me, is completely different now. It's irrelevant, and I don't think that's irrelevant. The trend is still the trend. So I expect a drawdown before the halving, and then chop sideways after or through into it, and then after, and then leading into, you know, end of 2024 into 2025, a push upwards for Bitcoin and the overall crypto ecosystem. But that has now been you know, reciprocated amongst the top people, and you know, the followers and the community act like it's news. It's not news. It's just the same trend that we've been familiar with for quite a while. And is this a good time to buy Bitcoin? I can't say for certain, but I do believe, while I'm not providing financial advice, I do believe, because if you look at the trends over years of this happening, say that 5 times fast, you will have another opportunity to get in. And I think that's also what institutional investors are waiting for. They may have been, you know, gobbling up, because we've been seeing the ETFs, you know, accumulating, and different institutions getting involved in accumulating Bitcoin as we're going. Honestly, eating more supply than what's actually out there. Surprisingly, not pushing the price up to where I expected it to be. But I believe that's going to continue. That trend's going to continue. They're going to continue to get as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. That's why I urge you, the end user, average person, the person that works their butt off day in and day out, and gets screwed over by large operations, institutions, governments, whatever it might be, to accumulate as much of Bitcoin as you possibly could. If I had the money, I would go buy an entire Bitcoin right now, but I do not have that money. So the only thing I can do is dollar cost average. Rather than let that go into the hands of the controlling parties, I'd rather go into the hands of the average individual that in my personal opinion, has more of an effect on their town, city, state, country than these larger operations. But it's just money, power, and greed that always seems to win. I look at this chart, and while we're sustaining pretty well on the daily, I want to take a look at the 4 hour. You know, we're looking pretty good on the 4 hour as well. I still believe that we can come right back down to that 41.7 range, turn it into support. Looking at the 1 hour, you know, I'm not too optimistic that we can sustain this. I think we're getting exhausted both on the bears and the bulls, and there's going to be some volatility and fluctuations here before in the next few months, right? But we also have, don't forget about that, we also have tax returns coming, right? I'm not sure if you filed your taxes yet. And by the way, if you have filed your taxes or you haven't filed your taxes, I got 2 recommendations. I haven't done an updated video, but TurboTax has gotten a lot better. Coinbase has also partnered with TurboTax to where you can get a discount off of it. Check out links in my description. And then I have cointracking.info that you can also utilize. And the beautiful thing is, as crypto has grown and become more mainstream, these various institutions, tax return companies, whatever, has integrated with these third parties to help make your taxes easier. So I would challenge you to check out the links in the description related to tax returns, cointracking.info, you know, Coinbase, whatever it might be. I'll try to see if I can do another updated video, but I don't know if I get it out in time because I know a lot of people are right now at the last stage. Like most of us file, the average American files their taxes in February, right? Waiting for the 1099, 98, whatever it might be. But a lot of people wait to the last minute because they have to wait for all this paperwork and all this stuff to whatever. Check them out though and see if it can help you out, save some money, and help you manage your taxes, so to speak. You might have a CPA or a professional because you're operating in the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. Not me. I mean, a couple $100, whoopee IKIA, but nothing too crazy. Trending tokens right now, Jupiter obviously doing really good. Zeta Chain that was added to Coinbase was around like 60 something cents, and I should have grabbed it when I got the notification. I didn't, and then it pumped up to $1.67, almost $2 right here, $1.92, and now it's $1.41. That would have been a nice little penny. It would have been much, right? If I only spent like $50 at 65 cents, it would have been much, but it would have been nice little penny to take profits on and stuff like that. But that is one of the trending tokens I've been keeping my eye, obviously Jupiter and stuff like that. But anyways, Kathy Wood, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Let me say hello real quick to the live chat, and I'll turn my attention to all my future viewers here in just a second. Adam Williams, Crypto Pounder 4, Automatic Beats, Seb Chaps, Chris Hanley, Retro Mike, Neomorphous, Sterling Spectre, good to see you, Tech Man, and let's see here. Appreciate it. Sterling Spectre, was the ETF not priced in when it actually got approved? People say that the ETF was priced in, but I think Bitcoin just didn't care. I just think that Bitcoin just doesn't care. But it's going to continue to grow. The ETF is not going to circumvent what usually happens in a trend from the halving. So we'll see. What's up, Jock? Jock MC Miner, Black Sales. Appreciate you guys stopping by. So, was the ETF priced in, Sterling Spectre? Yes, but it's not going to be enough to offset what normally happens prior to the halving or after the halving. I still believe we could see a dip down. I won't say a $20,000 Bitcoin, but I could certainly see a $35,000 Bitcoin, maybe a $32,000 Bitcoin. Let's go back to the charts real quick and zoom out at those major levels, legacy levels, right? So 31.6 is where I'm eyeing right now. That's a legacy line. We could certainly bounce off of that to make and this is over time. This isn't like right now, today, tomorrow. This is over time. I can certainly see us drop to 41, drop below, in past the 40s into the 37, 38 range, right? So basically 38K, and then 36, 35, and then to 32, 31.5. I can certainly see that happening. And again, if you look at some of the charts, I don't have them pulled up, you'll see that the trend has been sustained every time a Bitcoin halving has happened. But let's see here. ARK Invest says optimal Bitcoin portfolio allocation for 2023 was 19.4%. So over my portfolio is like 70% Bitcoin, to be honest. The optimal allocation is up from 0.5% in 2015 to 6.2 in 2022. So basically talking more or less about the big whales, the big money investors, that they should have about 20% of, and this is her opinion, right? This is her one financial advisor's opinion, not mine, saying that you should have about 20% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. I'm sure most of you that are watching in the live chat or listen to this later, it probably has more than that amount as far as percentage in Bitcoin. Anyways, it says here Bitcoin is an effective diversifier and counterbalance to traditional asset classes, and optimal allocation in one investment portfolio is just under 20%. Kathy Wood's ARK Invest wrote in an annual Big Ideas report. They say here that over the last 7 years, Bitcoin has registered an annualized return far surpassing the major asset classes, with an optimal allocation rising to 19.4% in 2023. Our analysts suggest that allocating this amount of percentage to Bitcoin in 2023 would have maximized the portfolio risk adjustment returns. Bitcoin is not just an investment option, but a vital component for diversifying investment portfolios, according to unprecedented growth potentials among digital assets. Bitcoin's low 5-year correlation of 0.27 with traditional assets underscores the diversification benefits, and even minimal allocations by institutional investors could notably influence its price. Given the vast 250 trillion global investment asset base, ARK writes. So obviously, same thing that we heard about the ETF, with these number of people and number of assets under their control, if they allocated X amount of percent into Bitcoin or to crypto assets, right? Because we got the Ethereum ETF in the future, not only is it beneficial for those investors, right, but it'll be beneficial for the entire ecosystem. But we'll see how that pans out in the future. But obviously, the ETF approval was priced in. It takes times, and I said this prior to the ETF approval, it takes time for things to ramp up, right? It's not just, hey, ETFs approved, start selling. Obviously, people already knew about it. They were just waiting for the approval, both investors and hedge fund managers and the frontline people that were talking to these individuals with this wealth. But it takes time for things to move along, right? Especially because a lot of people got out of the, the GBTC, and they got to wait so many days before they can get back in, and yada, yada, yada. So it's just going to take time, hanging tight. But we'll see how things progress in the long run. You need to look at the bigger picture, not the short term. Coinbase analyst sees downside pressure as Bitcoin price becoming exhausted. This is something that I was talking about, and another metric that I'm alluding to is the downside pressure on Bitcoin and the wider cryptocurrency market has become exhausted. The depletion of pressures will pave the way for a more supportive trading environment, says an analyst. Downside pressure on Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency market has started to become exhausted, which could lead to more supportive trading environment, according to Coinbase analysts. I just said that. Coinbase weekly report released on Friday described how certain technical factors that have been exerting downward pressure on Bitcoin specifically and the broader crypto market are beginning to wane, right? When the downside pressure begins to wane, there should be some upside. However, do not be fainted, do not be faked out, do not be fooled, do not FOMO, do not FUD, don't do any of that stuff. We might pick up, but we might drop right back down. Be smart, be cautious, and don't do, and see, this is the problem, is you go online and you see a bunch of articles or a bunch of individuals in the financial sector calling for these crazy numbers of Bitcoin, being bullish on Bitcoin. And when everybody is bullish, what should you do? You should do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. Because Bitcoin tends to do the opposite of what everybody else wants to do. Bitcoin does what it wants, regardless of what we want. So while everybody's bullish, you should be bearish. And while everybody's bearish, you should be bullish. So it's a balancing act, but not all your calls are going to be right. And remember the saying that time in the market beats time in the market, right? Trying to time the perfect in and out, the perfect profit take and the perfect, short sell or stop loss and all that stuff. Well, you're supposed to use stop losses, but trying to time your positions in and out, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Some people are really good at it. I'm not one of them. So just gaining that exposure over time, dollar cost averaging, is probably going to be your best bet. While that ain't financial advice, that's just common financial knowledge. We have a quote here that talking about the many technical factors. Once again, according to the report, one significant development that has depleted much of downside pressure is the completion of the FTX bankruptcy estate, selling a substantial GBTC holding. The Coinbase analyst referenced a recent CoinDesk report which mentioned the bankruptcy estate disposing of 22 million GBTC. The strengthening of the argument that a more supportive trading environment is being developed, the report added that net inflows of the net inflows have been growing still, even though the price has not risen, into spot Bitcoin ETF has averaged over 200 million a day in the past week, bringing a total net inflows to 1.46 billion since January 11th. Now, that's the total inflows since January 11th, 1.46 billion. What did we just see over here? Given the vast 250 trillion global invested asset base, 250 trillion, but we only see 1.46 billion. So there's still money on the side. There's still money on the side. Consequently, we expect macro factors to become more relevant for the digital asset class in weeks ahead, which could be supportive for performance. The Coinbase report goes on to highlight, the Federal Reserve's recent rate decision press conference, during which it announced that there would be a postponement of central bank quantitative tightening program. The next Federal Open Market Committee, or the FMOC, on March 19th, 20th, Coinbase said that it suggests the Fed monetary easing cycle could likely start in May, while at the end of the central bank's balance sheet reduction plans could start in June. So here's something I want to paint out for you, okay? We have tax returns. The average American individual and maybe worldwide, I don't know how taxes work in other countries, but I assume you guys got them, and you get tax returns. People start receiving these tax returns, right? Now we're looking at March and April, the Bitcoin halving happenings, right? So now people have this money, they paid their debts, and they got some extra money. What do they want to do with it? Maybe they want to get into crypto. They want to start buying various assets, degenning, whatever it might be, or buy more mining equipment, whatever it might be. So we're getting that tax return money back in, and usually that brings a green month, right? But this is the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin. So while that might be a green indicator or a bullish indicator, as people get their tax returns to start putting it back into the market or the economy, the halving could experience a drop. Tax return money picks it back up or tries to keep it lifted, right, or support it. We move and chop sideways for a while. We got the FOMC, we got the other economic factors and macro factors over time, May, June, and then we start to get towards the end of the year, right? And what happens normally towards the end of the year, every time I say it, the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the market drops again. But then after that, now here comes 2025, right? January, February, same thing. And we're just continuing to push up. I don't think it's going to be a straight half pipe, but I think it's going to be a dip down, chop sideways, maybe another small dip, lift back up, chop sideways. And then as time goes on, we'll start increasing little by little. We might get a big boom. Maybe there might be a big boom, but the problem is that there's always a chance for a black swan event. That's the hard part, is you don't know what world or country leaders, I was going to say world leaders, country leaders are going to do. You don't know, right? We still have the conflict in Ukraine. We still have tensions in the Middle East. We still have situations, especially economic strife in South America. We still have uncertainty, and that's another thing. Another factor to take into Bitcoin is we also have a presidential election here in the United States. How is that going to reflect? How is that going to impact the offices behind it, right? The SEC, the CTFC, like those people who are jackasses to crypto need to get out of office, so a more open-minded and one that's willing to work with the cryptocurrency and digital assets industries to help grow this space. Because I think it could be a huge benefit to not just the United States, but the entire world, if we have world leaders that are more open to it and are willing to work with it instead of just slap it and fine it every time it does something wrong, and instead help coach it and be like, hey, no, we need to do it this way, or I would like to see it this way, and then have a diplomatic discussion of back and forth and seeing where things go. But, there's so many different variables when you start thinking about that, whether it's the presidential election, tax returns, the presidential election, the halving happening, the FOMC easing, rate cuts or postponements in May, the central bank's balance sheet in June. It's just way too much to keep an eye on. And for one person to be like, yeah, Bitcoin's going to go to the moon, whatever. Like you can't, one person can't call the shots, unfortunately. And that's why I like crypto. It's that one person can't call the shots. It's all about the community. So we can agree and we can disagree, but we can be respectful about it and weigh our opinions. We got a quote here, I think, that says, in the U.S., the likelihood of a soft landing seems higher than it was a few months ago, with the economic sustainability making only minimum trade-offs between activity and inflation. Core PCE inflation, the Federal Reserve's preferred measure of prices, at 2.7% year to year, is trending in line with their 2% long-run target, and the assortment of recent economic indicators have been fairly resilient. The report added that the combination depleting downside pressure on Bitcoin and the possibility of rate cut coinciding with the Bitcoin halving could potentially prop up both Bitcoin and other tokens in Q2 2024. It could. It certainly could. But again, go look at the charts. I should have had them pulled up for this live stream. I'm so sorry. But go look at the charts. Actually, let's see if K-Dub can help me out. I know he talked about it real quick. Crypto zombie. I think he has a chart in one of his videos. Where did he put it? Where did he put it? No, that's not it. I think this is it.
The BlackRock Bitcoin.
Let me find it. Where's that happening at? It was on Twitter somewhere. I mean, I think it was this video. He was wearing that kind of shirt. Not unless he wore the same shirt for multiple videos. But yeah. So I think we're due for some chop and a drop, but it would be good overall. Now moving on, this is talking about, you know, how we have people, you know, are trying to urge the Ethereum community to become a validator. It costs $70,000 plus, you know, 2,300 times 32 ETH. You're at $74,000 to become a part or become a validator. They want more at-home validators because right now everybody is staking through these centralized entities, making Ethereum more centralized, and the concern about it, the security risk, and yada yada yada. But I mean, do you have $70,000 worth of ETH that you can go and become your own validator at home right now? I don't. I'm nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. So, I mean, I like it, I understand it, but I don't see how that's possible because we're talking about the average individual who more than likely doesn't have 32 ETH. The people that have the 32 ETH are going to be the institutions or the big companies or the Binances or the Coinbases or the Lidos or whatever. It's not going to be the average at-home individual. But I do like the fact that they wish that more at-home people would participate, right? Would have the 32 ETH and have become their own validator. Now, also 32 ETH, if you think about it, that's a lot of financial responsibility for one person, right? Especially if you're going to run a node at home, your network is not secure, you go to stupid websites and you get compromised, you know, lose your wallet funds, whatever. Like, that's a big financial responsibility for somebody to have. But I know there's at-home people that have $70,000 plus worth of assets in their arsenal. But I would hope they're smart enough to, you know, spread their weight out or put their eggs in different baskets and not have it all in one spot, right? But I still like the argument of, as it stands, most of these holders are deposited into large institutions, leading to centralization and long-term devaluation of asset. If you had 75K of Ether, you already have a deep investment in a platform. I feel like most of these folks can spend a Saturday and watch a 30-minute staking video and get a validator operating if they wanted to. Yes, they could. So if you do have 32 plus ETH and you're not a validator and you're just staking with a centralized entity, I would urge you to consider becoming your own validator, but I would urge you to take the right precautions. Make sure your network's secure. Make sure you got backups of a backup of a backup, and you got redundancy of your wallets and all kinds of stuff. You know, I wouldn't ask the average blue collar worker who's not technology, you know, technically sounded in the technology space to go and try this. But then if they go and hire somebody or ask somebody for help, that somebody can take advantage of them. And it's kind of a catch-22. There's more bad than there is good, that at least that I feel in this world. Even though I know there's a lot of good people out there, there's always somebody trying to take advantage of you. So I like the idea. I do believe that if you are capable or if you have that Ethereum, you should consider it. But that's a steep investment to ask somebody to do. Then we're talking about boring sleuth. Again, basically what happened is the Gatecoin hack in 2016, which saw about 185,000 worth of ETH and 250 Bitcoin stolen or hacked. They found that one of the addresses in the report here is linked to the Ethereum Foundation. He called for Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation to comment. They didn't comment. We haven't heard anything back. Is this... I mean, it looks legit. If you go back and you track the address provided here in this report by Gatecoin itself, you can see transactions between a known Ethereum Foundation address and the hacker. So the Ethereum Foundation or somebody in the Ethereum Foundation know the hacker? Or, like, I don't know. Some questionable items. We'll have to wait and see how things pan out. But, yeah. Basically, the hacker used the smart contract code to kind of split the funds, call to certain functions, split the funds, and the crypto dispersed. Some of it was sold on Kraken. Some of it was actually found. Like here, he says here that he checked the balance history of the address and found that it received 2,000 ETH from the hacker's contract on March 15, 2016, which is one day after the Gatecoin hack. Claims that he followed the trail further, and the stolen ETH found that some of it was sold on Kraken between April and June 2016. He also identified the Kraken deposit address of the foundation by looking for transactions that had high value, low gas price, and indicated that they were used to transfer ETH to an exchange. He also cross-referenced the address with Kraken API and found that it matched with one of the foundation's accounts, Ethereum Foundation's account. He also added that he checked the trading history of the account and found that it sold 1337 ETH for BTC between April 4th and April 13th. Now, 1337, if you're not familiar, is leet speak, right? It's leet, L-E-E-T. I do that all the time. So that'd probably be somebody, the hacker themselves being like, I don't care if you see this transaction. I got away with it. Screw you. So is this going to have an impact on Ethereum? I posed that question to you. I don't think it will. But like the person, Born Sleuth, and a number of people are calling for the larger media outlets to talk about it. But nobody has yet, to be honest. Like, if you look at the media right now, you Google this, it's like this website is called Techedia, but it's not any of the CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, CNBC. It's nothing in the major outlets out there. And Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation haven't responded yet. It's not a good look, but I don't think, even if true, I don't think it's really going to have an impact on Ethereum. If anything, Ethereum might fall down to, what is it at now? $2,000, if that. Like, I don't really think it's a deal. It's a big deal, especially if the Ethereum Foundation have some sort of level of involvement in the hack. I don't think it's as big of a deal as I once thought it was at the beginning until I started reading it. So we'll see. I could be completely wrong. Born Sleuth could come in here and slap me around. I don't know. I leave it to, again, the more advanced chain analysis and analytics to investigate and kind of compare and contrast the report or what Boring Sleuth is saying to confirm, and hopefully the Ethereum Foundation just comes on and denies it. But we'll see. Also, Jupiter, Solana, everything's looking good. Solana-based DEX Jupiter tops the charts at 480 million in the past 24-hour period amid frenzy for a new meme coin airdrop and heightened stablecoin swaps. While Finance Redefined, welcome to Finance Redefined, blah, 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 welcome to Decentralized, blah, blah, blah. The past week saw Solana Decentralized, we saw that, flip the leading DEX platform Uniswap with 480 million daily trading volume amid a new meme coin airdrop frenzy. According to the new report, out of 2.61 billion stolen from the crypto market in 2023, 674 million was recovered from 600 large-scale hacks. Meanwhile, Polygon Labs proposed a framework to classify DeFi as critical infrastructure. The top 100 DeFi tokens had a bullish week and a midweek market surge, and the total volume lock, or TVL, in DeFi protocols surged to $60 billion. Blockchain security firm Peck Shield has published data summarizing the losses of the hack scams in 2023. According to the company, 2.6 billion was lost this year, excluding multi-chain losses. PeckShield noted that in its report on January 29th, the amount shows 27.78 decrease compared to 2022, while total global cyber thefts totaled around 3.6 billion. The security firm also highlighted that over 674 million were recovered from more than 600 large-scale hacks that they tracked, equating to 25% of the crypto stolen. So still a large amount there. And as Solana continues to grow, right, we saw Jupiter also growing. All right, let's go take a look at Jupiter right now. It's down 10.6% over the 24-hour, maybe 9 now. But over the 7-day, yeah, look at that. And I was thinking about getting some Jupiter when it dipped originally, but I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. So at the time it was tracked on the chart, it was $1.27. But of course, you know, as soon as charts start, craziness happens. But if we go back here, it looks like it could go lower as the volume starts to dwindle. 460 million, 460, 450, 440, 429, 427, 426, compared to 641. You know, 650. Let's look back at those 7 days. The peak here of volume, it saw 1.56 billion. So the hype is waning off. Solana's price has fallen a bit. Jupiter's price has fallen a bit, but still the DEX is operating at full steam ahead and looks pretty exciting. As Solana registers a new all-time high in the monthly new addresses for January. So monthly new addresses, new users coming into the space and registering new address. Finally, I got myself a Phantom wallet, to be honest. I know I suck. I should have had one forever ago, but I was just keeping my Solana and staking my Solana through my Ledger or my other hardware wallet. But I finally got a Phantom wallet just so, you know, I can play around and participate in some of these airdrops, because I know many of you probably have. Matter of fact, if you have, let me know in the comments, how do you do? Or let me know in the live chat, how do you do? Do you get some of these airdrops that have happened as Solana has exploded? And, you know, did you do pretty well? We don't need to know pricing. I don't want you to dox yourself or expose the amount of money you made. Just, did you do well? You know, there's good. I did damn, I did outstanding. I got wrecked. You know, like, there's terms to describe how you did. You don't need to give everybody your business. But yeah, new addresses reached a new all-time high on a monthly basis in January. The count of new addresses Solana is increased to nearly 12 million during the month. Obviously, people trying to get in on that craze. Mind Something said they got some WEM but no JUP. I heard some people couldn't even sell it. They couldn't swap it. It was kind of a pain. And thank you for adding me in the super chat. And thank you for everybody coming over and stopping by. Chump Change, Crypto Mikkel. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out with us. Flying Brian, John Germain, Becktran 07. Appreciate it. So, if you guys did get it, was there a problem trying to swap, sell, whatever, because of how much transactions there were? Remember, Solana has failed in the past before, and it had some hiccups in the network, so to speak, in the past. So, you know, was it a pain trying to, you were able to claim the assets, but were you able to do something with the assets? Or did the price just get wrecked because a bunch of bots destroyed it? But yeah, the monthly count of new addresses increased to 11.81 million from January. The gain represents an 18% rise in new addresses on the network from December count of about 10 million, which was multi-month high at the time. And you can see here this chart where we see the Solana addresses increase. And now, by the way, people generate multiple addresses, right? So for example, I generated a Phantom wallet, but I already have Solana in a different wallet and then another wallet. So, you know, 3, 4, 5 of these addresses could be because of me, right? So if you have that times by however many people, you know, obviously that's going to skew the numbers. But anyways, the spike to new Solana addresses come amid a likely flurry of fresh users engaging in the native DEXs and meme coins like WEN and Bonk. The release of native token by Jupiter, the network's largest decentralized exchange aggregator, on the last day of the month likely contributed to this increase. On the 7th day, average daily volume addresses have jumped by more than 1/3 since the start of the year. Though the figure remains below the activity seen in May 2022. So still have a ways to go, but Solana is still popping. Now moving on to mining, a topic that I know many of my viewers follow my channel about, is what Ars Technica says here, that 2% of the U.S. electricity generation is for Bitcoin mining. What exactly is Bitcoin mining doing to the electric grid? Well, in the last few years, the U.S. has boomed in cryptocurrency mining, and the government is now trying to track exactly what that means for the consumption of electricity. While analysts is preliminary, an analysis preliminary, the Energy Information Agency, or EIA, estimates that the large-scale cryptocurrency operations are now consuming over 2% of the U.S. electricity. That's roughly the equivalent of having added an additional state to the power grid just in the last 3 years. That's not bad compared to the amount of energy that other industries use. So here we go again. Anyways, while there's some small scale mining that goes on in personal computers and small rigs, first off, you can't mine with personal computers and small rigs. You need ASICs. Yes, we have like the Apollo BTC, USB, blah, 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 but personal computers is inaccurate. Small rigs, maybe. Small ASIC devices, large ASIC devices, or ASIC miners. Most cryptocurrency mining has moved to large collections of specialized hardware, ASICs. While this hardware can be pricey compared to personal computers, why are we calling it PCs? The main cost for these operations is electricity use, so the miners will tend to move to places where there's low electric rates. The EIA notes that in the wake of the crackdown on cryptocurrency in China, a lot of the movement has involved relocation to the U.S., while keeping electricity prices low has generally been a priority, and it still is a priority. Also, we have an estimate here by Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, had the U.S. as the home of just 3% of the global Bitcoin mining at the start of 2022, but the start of 3% in 2020. By the start of 2022, the figure was nearly 38%. Cambridge Center also estimates the global electricity use of Bitcoin mining, so it's possible to multiply that by the U.S. percentage and come up with the estimate for the amount of electricity that boom has consumed. That boom has consumed, Bitcoin boom. Because of uncertainties and estimates, the numbers could be anywhere from 25 to 95 terawatt hours. And remember, we talked about this before. We talked about the overall world and what it estimates to consume. And that's not nearly as much as, again, some of the other industries. So, grain of salt. Even the low end of the range would mean Bitcoin mining is now using the equivalent of Utah's electricity consumption. The high end is roughly Washington's, which has significant implications for the electric grid as a whole. Yeah, we need to update our electrical grid. We need to get more renewable resources and find better ways to create our electricity so we can have a good ESG mix. Yeah, we need to get better. Our electrical grid is outdated. It's old. Fix it. Right? That's why we pay our taxes. That's why we pass this bill. The Infrastructure Act. Let's go. Get it done. Fix it. The EIA decided it needed a better grip on what's going on. To get that, it went through trade publications, financial report, news articles, blah, blah, blah. With 137 facilities identified, it then required about the power supply needed to operate the full capacity, receiving answers from 101 of those facilities. So that's not all the facilities. I just want you to know that. So they reached out to 137, only got 101 answers from them. But there's black facilities that are not known, but being utilized. And obviously the city, state, town will know, right? It's just like people who have illegal marijuana grow operations, right? They find them out because of the heat source and the power that they're utilizing. And or if they're not on the grid, right, and they're using generators because the grow operation is trying to hide this stuff, the generators produce a lot of heat in the middle of the woods. So when a helicopter flies over and sees the heat, they're like, oh, hey, there we go. There's one. Go raid it. So those same operations that might have been closed down for illegal marijuana grows probably have the same generators that could be used for a legitimate mining operation. You bust the door there and you're just like, I got you. And you're just like, oh, mining equipment. Just like the cop that came over to my house, and I was like, hey, look at that. And he looked at my tent. He's like, are you growing weed? And I was like, no. And I opened it up. He was like, oh, that's amazing. So it changes, but you kind of use the same infrastructure that those illegal operations would have used that may have gotten busted for mining purposes now. So, but I know a lot of mining facilities that are on renewables. There's one guy, oh my God, what is his name? Really cool dude. It's on my Twitter. I follow him all the time. Completely renewable. It's completely renewable. 100% renewable. Smaller operation, not a big scale operation, but yeah. And you know, what was it? You got a 5 megawatt facility. Bisbee Trippin's got a 5 megawatt facility in one, and I think a 15 megawatt facility in another. And, you know, compared to the grand scheme of things, Genesis mining and all that stuff, that's small. But yeah, that does add up over time. You know, all the operations in Niagara Falls, it does add up over time. But I think it's just forcing the power companies to get their head out of their rear ends and actually improve their infrastructure that they already have. So yeah, power usage is going to continue to grow, but power usage is going to continue to grow no matter what. Why? Because we're moving to EVs, right? You're pushing us towards EVs, right? The GTI just came out with an EV. The range is like 60 miles. What am I going to do with 60 miles? But you want me to get it. Why? Because it's greener on the earth. Yet the materials used to make the batteries or the car itself isn't really being recycled, and then we're just hurting the earth, mining the rare earths that we use to make the batteries. So it's catch-22, right? It's all about offset and this, that, and the other. So there's a balancing act, and people got their asses up their rear so far that they're not understanding the full thing, right? You want us to get greener. You're moving us to get greener. You're forcing us to get greener. We're getting greener, but then you're complaining about us getting greener. Because charging your car, right? I know people mine crypto in a Tesla. So turn those battery packs for the cars that you are charging but not utilizing, right? When the car is fully charged, have it go back to the grid, and now we have a bunch of cars, right? Like this whole neighborhood has a Tesla in it that's fully charged. Now that turns into a giant battery pack. How can I use that? Right? I talked about one of the applications at CES, and it's on my channel, Peak Power. Like, it's a good use case, you know. But is it going to get the adoption it needs to really grow? And of course, this is just drawing more eyes. The U.S. government seems to be closing in on Bitcoin mining, which is why I urge people, you know, if you have a mining facility, work with your local officials, right? If you have immersion cooling, by the way, and I just want to make sure this is crystal clear, guys. I just want to make sure it's crystal clear. All right, I talked to Mr. Carter, Bitsby Trippin, and Crypto Mikkel, and a number of other individuals. And if you have an immersion cooling setup, container, whatever, you need to register with the EPA. Don't hide it. You probably don't even know you were supposed to register with the EPA, but yes, you were supposed to register with the EPA. Why? Well, you're using an oil-based product. If that oil spills, right? What happens when you have oil and you try to put out it catches on fire, right? The oil catches on fire, right? You throw water on it? No, you don't. You don't throw water on it, right? So if you have an immersion cooling system and something catches fire and the firefighters come out and you're not registered with the EPA, they are not going to be prepared for what you have on site to make sure they got the right equipment to help you out. You need to register with the EPA, not just for environmental reasons, but safety reasons. And if you don't, they will fine you. And then the fine will outweigh what you would have gained. Don't do it. Register with your local, town, city, state, federal authorities, everything you need to do. I understand it may not always be in the budget. It's going to cost more to register that, register this. But the fines you would receive if you did not and you're caught would outweigh the gains. So just do it by the book, even though the book is jacked up, right? Like following the rules, I know we don't like to follow the rules, but until we're in a position to change it, we have to follow the rules. So follow the rules, avoid the fines, stack them sats. But yes, the government is going to continue to be a dick. until we get, again, people in positions of power that are more open-minded, willing to work with, see the tangible benefits of blockchain technology, its applications amongst the world, amongst the people, how it could help us overall, big, small, indifferent, doesn't matter. There's going to be this crackdown, but I believe most of the facilities are operating above board, right? They're mostly, they have a good renewable mix, right? They might use a little bit of coal, fossil fuel, natural gas, but they have a good renewable mix. It's like a 40 30 30 split, something like that. So I don't think it's a big deal, as some people will say. That conversation, that ESG conversation, has been going on for a while, and I've been talking about it. But I don't think it's as bad as people say compared to other industries and the amount of energy they use. So we'll see. But yeah, government always like to look at us a little suspiciously. But the at-home miner, like you and I, right? I got two ASICs in an immersion system. I get a notification from my electric company saying, "Hey, you're using more power than before. If this is a concern, please let us know. Here's some ways you can save power." Blah blah blah. I'm like, just screw you. I know what I'm doing. But they won't work with me on reducing the amount of electricity rate that I could pay, which really sucks. Thank you, Retro Mike, for 99 cents. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for supporting the channel, all my members. Fudweiser, thank you guys. Appreciate you very much. And Retro Mike also says, I got WEN with my Helium hotspot, put the hotspot in profit, swapped it to Sol without any issues. So I couldn't do that. When I tried to get my WEN from my Helium wallet, it wouldn't let me claim. And I know there was a window, and I tried it during that window. But Retro Mike, did you have an issue claiming? Did you do it through the Helium wallet? Let me know. Just at me again and grab my attention. But anyways, Celsius. Those of you impacted by Celsius, including myself, not a lot of money, but I was impacted as well. It looks like they're wrapping up things. It could still be years before you actually receive your funds, but it's primarily going to be the creditors, the big businesses, the big financiers, investors, stuff like that. They're going to get their money back. Whereas, you and I, the retail investor, are probably going to, like, it's gone. It's gone. Like, I'm writing it off. It's gone. Obviously, there's additional information here in case you have any questions, to reach out to Stretto, Celsius Inquiries at Stretto.com. We got a phone number, international or US, 855-423-1530 for US, or 949-669-5873. If you want, I can link this in the chat. But yeah, that's wrapping up. We'll see if we actually get some funds. And then this guy lost his marriage, his followers, and his Lamborghini. Talking about Ben Armstrong. And I think some of you know where that Lamborghini Huracan Performante is as well. So we'll see how things pan out in the long run. Yeah. 3 people indicted in $400 million FTX crypto hack. This is the hack that was happening, or not the hack. This is the day that the FTX bankruptcy was filed, and we saw a lot of money being moved, and we're wondering why the money was being moved. Well, apparently, this is alleged, right? Robert Powell, the alleged ringleader of SIM swapping group, is due to appear in federal court. So it's a SIM swapping event, and it's becoming more and more popular, which is why I raised concerns about the at-home individual, being validated with 32 ETH, over $70,000 worth of Ethereum right now. Imagine what happens when that Ethereum turns to $7,000 per ETH, right? That's going to be a lot of money and a lot of responsibility for that at-home individual to not only make sure their network's secure, but their wallets are as well. And with SIM swapping becoming more and more rampant, right, as we see prominent influencers and stuff like that lose their Twitters, have their Twitters exposed, losing their Coinbase access, this, that, and the other thing is very bad. I would hope they'd be smart enough not to leave their money on a centralized exchange where a backup is your phone number, because once your phone SIM is swapped, right, now I have access to your phone number. I can do recovery to access certain accounts, which you should have 2-factor authentication, but then sometimes I can reset that authentication with the phone number that you have set on that account, and so it's catch-22. So as it becomes more rampant, and as AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, all that stuff And I know not all these manufacturers or vendors, cellular providers have SIMs at all, but they can program another phone with your number is the point. As these individuals at these agencies, whether it's over the phone or at a physical location, keeps falling for this fake bull crap and providing somebody else your SIM, is going to continue to happen, right? And some people are even in on it. Some of the people at these cellular vendors are even in on it. Oh yeah, sure, I'll help you get this SIM. I want some money up front though. And then they get paid, they don't care. They get fired, they move on to the next job because they don't care, right? Because it's not, unless it was found to be this, like if they were in on this, were $400 million hack from FTX, I would assume the individual, and there's 3 of them. We got Carter Rohan, 24, and 23-year-old Emily Hernandez, but I'm not sure, you know, did they work for the cellular provider? Did they actually participate? You know, I'm not sure. But yeah, SIM swapping is becoming more rampant. Zach XBT, as much as he pokes the hive's nest every once in a while and people don't like it, I personally like some of the information they provide. On Twitter, they were talking about it as well, how SIM swapping has cost the crypto industry so much. So yeah. Anyways, Retro Mike says, I had to import my Helium Black private key into Phantom Wallet to do the claim after validating the allocation through Launchpad. All right, so you had to import your Helium. You couldn't just do it through the Helium wallet itself. It has the app launch. Okay, so Helium Black app. So that's the black one, not the old one, not the blue one. Had to import the key into the Phantom wallet to do the claim after validating the allocation through Launchpad. Okay. Not ideal, but I don't keep funds on my Helium Black wallet, so risk was mitigated. Okay, I see what you did. I understand. Good morning, Rudd. Thank you for stopping by. We're actually getting ready to wrap up here. I'm going to play this video for us real quick as we get ready for Red Panda Mining to go live. And I'm going to probably go work on a couple things here at the house. Stay tuned to the channel for some updates. Got some good stuff coming your way. Update on the immersion cooling for members only, and then eventually to the public. Got some more updates on the KS0. I dropped some last night. Or the Casper KS0. Updated guide on how to mine Alphium, which is long form video, but I did it because I wanted to make an updated one considering the early days of Alphium mining, and so much more. I really appreciate you and the support that you guys have provided, not only myself, but the crypto community at large. Please help me though, like share these videos out, retweet them, like, you know, hit the bell notification, all that stuff, because it helps me out. A lot of people are not hitting the notification bell to stay up to date and be notified when I'm going live or when I'm publishing a video. You guys know I've been pushing out videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then live streaming on Saturday as often as I can. And we're kind of we're kind of like Bitcoin right now. We're moving sideways at that 25K, right below that 25K range. And I would really like to push this channel up to a point to where I can actually help people. I want to help other users. So help me help others. And I really appreciate all the support you guys have provided the channel. So let's see what this news article has to say. I'm pretty sure it's going to be another ad. And what is it? Bitcoin reclaims 43K as cryptocurrency extends recent gains. So let's watch this while we get ready for Red Panda Mining to go live, which should be any second now. We'll see here. And yeah, we'll see what happens. No problem, Alltrack. Thank you for your dedication and for your assistance. And Rudput's always sending me that Happy Friday stuff. John Germain makes 60 kilowatt a day in summer, but AC takes all. Yeah, AC takes a lot of my power bill. AC takes a lot of my power bill, unfortunately. Especially during the summer. But I live in Florida. I think some of you do too. Oh, don't forget, by the way, I am going to be at what is it called? Cultivative. What is it called? Nope. What is it called? Brewery. It's in Orange Park. There you go. Cultured Collective Brewing Company, February 10th, after our live stream. So next Saturday, after our live stream, we have an event planned. I posted it on our Discord. Well, yeah, I posted on a Discord, but I also posted it on my page. Come hang out with us, talk Bitcoin, talk cryptocurrency, have some good beer, have some good drinks. Off of 835 Park Avenue, Orange Park, Florida, United States. I look forward to meeting you and talking, just talking crypto. It'd be really nice to actually meet you. Nice little place, owned by a family friend, and they turned it into a nice little brewing company. So we'll see. Please come hang out with us.
VC firm Andreessen Horowitz says institutional adoption of crypto is a net positive. BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF becomes the first of those launched to reach $2 billion in assets under management. And Coinbase's chief security officer, Philip Martin, breaks down the company's role in many of the spot ETFs. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Digital currencies kicking off the week in the green, with Bitcoin climbing more than 2%, trading back above the $43,000 level. Now, at the same time, Ether also rising to $22.99, and the Matic token jumping to 81 cents. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Andreessen Horowitz general partner Chris Dixon joined Squawk Box this morning, where he discussed the SEC's spot Bitcoin ETF decision. He acknowledged that crypto has been a controversial technology and said that any institutional acceptance, like these ETFs, is a net positive.
The specific ETFs, I think that'll play out for a long time. I think there's some discussion of the Ethereum ETF. I mean, I think this technology is inevitable. I think this is the future of the internet. So I think over time you will see greater and greater acceptance of ETFs and other kinds of financial instruments. So, but I think that will take time.
Dixon also argued that the death of NFTs has been exaggerated. The firm predicted in its big ideas for 2024 that the technology would become ubiquitous brand assets. Next up, BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF is the first of those launched this month to hit $2 billion in assets under management. Now, this doesn't include Grayscale's GBTC.
All right, a lot of the stuff we actually hit earlier in the live stream, so we are good to go. Red Panda Mining is live. Go ahead and head on over there. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all next week. But don't forget what I said. Please help out and sharing, retweeting, all that good stuff. And just take care of yourselves, guys. Appreciate you. All right?